Hi, welcome to my channel. I thought to bring this video for individuals who are like me, who are embarking on a running journey, as an amateur running journey, to bring you some facts and some details in terms of if you are going to be pursuing to run the major marathons. This is exactly what you need to know. There's lots of videos out in YouTube and they're all great and they all provide interesting perspectives, but actually going through this journey, there are a few things that a few of them have left, or a few videos that I've left out, and I just wanted to bring this to you guys and to share exactly the real cost of being an amateur runner. I used to play recreational football, and any hobby that you do is going to be quite costly. So, you know, you do amateur football, you play with your friends twice a week, you know, maybe you may have Sunday league, you may part of a Sunday league or a Saturday team, and you've got, you know, your gym, so you may do gym 3-4 times a week, and then you play football twice a week. So the expenses with playing recreational football is you pay your subs for your 8-a-side, 5-a-side during the week, and then if you're playing Saturday or Sunday, you're gonna have to pay subs as well for that. But with both sports, or any sports that you do, the common denominator, whether it's volleyball, whether it's football, whether it's running, is the time. And the time that I've noticed with running compared to any those other sports, especially recreational football, is that you've got to be time rich if you are going to really pursue this running journey. This is probably the biggest thing out of any aspect of the running journey. People don't tell you the amount of time that you actually need, and if you're not time rich and you are looking to pursue to do marathons, it's you don't want to be like me and suffer your first marathon in a great deal of pain. So I'll say that you'll need to have time, or you need to engage with, if you are in a relationship with your partner, and you need to explain to them that you need to you're going to be allocating a lot of time to running. There's a lot of memes and there's a lot of like comedy sketches in terms of how much running, the time that is required, is needed to be a proficient amateur runner. So time is number one. Time is, I'll say, is the biggest aspect of it. But to add to time, because in finance they say time is money, running is not a cheap hobby whatsoever. A number of people will say, yeah, you just put on a pair of trainers and you just go to the park and run. If you are just doing it for health and fitness and you're not looking to join like a run club, or you're not looking to do like 5Ks or 10Ks, and you want to complete, or you know, get a decent time, then you can do. But if you have embarked on the journey that I've embarked by joining a run club, by delving down deep in the rabbit hole of pursuing to do a number of events across the world, and you know, locally across the UK and Europe and as well, you would know quickly it's not expensive. So let's talk about the expenses. So we've already talking about time. We need to talk about what's required in terms of, you know, you need your apparel. So footwear for me is an essential aspect of running, obviously, but you don't realize how expensive it is, because if you are running from a training perspective and then you're running as a race, you're going to need different shoes. So I don't want to bore you, there's so many videos and the variations of shoes, trainers that you can wear. From my experience, that being an amateur and, you know, just using worn trainers to run over and over and over, it meant for me that I was getting a lot of injuries, especially in my calves, especially in like shin splints, etc. So in order for me to combat that by listening to pro runners or running coaches, the rotation of your footwear was key. And to cut a long story short, you've got to have a lot of running shoes, at least between 3 and 4. Just for me personally, this is what works for me. I have a rotation of 4 running shoes that I rotate. 2 are my racing shoes, and the other 2 are training shoes. Now, in my humble opinion, there are ways that you can get them cheaper. You can go online and you can find, but the actual barrier to entry of these trainers or running shoes, they're really expensive. They're really expensive, and as you can see, the running craze has always been there, but it's now bigger than ever. And some of these shoes hardly go on sale because there's such a demand for them. If you do get them for slightly cheap, well done, but they're quite difficult to get a lot of these racing, especially the race shoes. So you need to fork out money on a lot of shoes, a lot of training shoes as well. Another aspect of the training shoes that they don't tell you about is that the manufacturers say that you can get 200 kilometers, 300 kilometers from one pair of shoes, etc. And in my humble opinion, that is not the case. I'm not exactly the biggest guy, and I find that the wear and tear of, depending on, a number of manufacturers are better than others, that's for sure. As I said, there's so many different running channels, and they go into depth in all of this, so I highly recommend. I've left a number of recommended YouTube reviewers to go and look if you're looking for a running shoe. And your average cost of a running shoe, I'll give an example. So I've just completed my second marathon, which is the Chicago Marathon. I'm in Chicago now making this video, but I've taken 2 running shoes with me. So I've got one shoe here, which is the Adidas Pro Adios Freeze, and these were £220, which I bought them for. And then I ran actually in these. This is what I actually ran in. These are the On Cloud Boom Strike, and these were £260. So these 2 shoes alone, you're looking at close to £500 already. So that is just the running shoes. Now, with apparel, you can get away with it. I do find there's a culture clash when it comes to the age demographic. I find that the younger demographic are far more look the part with their glasses, with the compressions and wearing all these fancy carbon plated shoes. And you go to one of your running clubs and you look at these younger demographics that are wearing full apparel. They're decked out in close to £500-600 worth of gear. Now, I'm not telling you that is the route to go down, but this is just a glimpse into the cost of running. Nike, all the Nike, Adidas On, you wear their vest that barely made out of little material. A vest will cost you £90. They say it's aero, it can release it can release more sweat while you're running. It's perforated. The shorts are aerodynamic and they're also perforated. That's another £90. So it can cost a lot. And if you are training frequently, as you know, with the polyester and all these hybrid materials they use, you've got to wash them pretty fast, or else it's quite difficult to get out these the sweaty smells in there. So, and then you got your winter apparel and you got your summer apparel. So as you can see, it's accumulating. Then you got your run clubs. So when you join, or if you are going to be taking this on board, in my opinion, it's amazing, and it's highly recommended to join a run club, because you get to see where you are, you get to meet new people, especially as an amateur, and you don't know. I came from playing recreational football. Running 5Ks, pretty simple. I didn't really push myself past 5K. 6-7K tops, comfortable, so I used to regard myself as pretty fit. Going to a run club was a rude awakening. I found that I was reasonably fit, but once I passed that 5K threshold, my fitness was tested and I was severely humbled. So you go to these run clubs, you're doing now your track sessions, then you're doing your long runs. Most of these run clubs, they are free, yeah, and you find which ones all over the country. The ones there's about 8 that I know in London, and you can just go and join. But then you've got to remember, if you're doing a track session, which helps your speed and your endurance, you've got to pay for the track. So you go to any athletics track, you're going to pay for it. So you're looking anywhere between £2 to £4, you know, depending on the track that you go to, or the run club that you go to. And then, as I said, for time again, your Saturdays or Sunday runs with the run clubs, you're going to need time. So if you are someone that does not have the time and doesn't want to join a run club, which I think is very beneficial, it's pretty lonely, it's pretty challenging to be on your own. So in terms of cost, you definitely going to be spending a lot of money on track sessions. I think it's vital that if you are going to be going to these runs, you need the track sessions that will help your speed and endurance. When you're running in races, you see how much of a difference it really contributes to your running. And then inevitably with this sport, with any sports that you do, you're going to get injured. And part of injury prevention is not just having the great footwear, it's not just having the great apparel for you know, not to be wearing summer apparel in the winter, but you also need to have strength and conditioning. Now, as an amateur runner, and if you are working a 9 to 5, not everyone's going to be having that disposable income to go and have a personal running coach or a personal trainer. But you're going to go in and join a gym. So, because the strength and conditioning improves your running tremendously. I only started doing strength and training in the last month or so, and prior to doing the marathon, and the difference that I've taken away from that is that moving forward, I'll be doing a lot more strength and conditioning. I watch all these videos and they say about strength and conditioning. I was just running, doing my general press-ups here and there, and that's it. But strength and conditioning, it's vital if you are going to be doing training and injury prevention. So when you work out the maths, so you've got the time that you need to actually run, you've got to have the apparel, you're going to join a run club, then you're going to have your gym, and then if you are going to join a gym, there are different variations of what type of gym that's going to give you the quality that you need. You can either go from an entry-level gym, like a pure gym, and you do everything yourself, or you're going to go to those higher-end gyms, like the David Lloyds, the Equinox, or the Third Spaces. These are a bit more premium, but within these gyms, you do get more bang for your buck. You have better recovery. Better recovery in terms of you have massage guns, you have the roll-in massage, you just have all the equipment that you need. Yes, it's very daunting in terms of the price, but when you factor everything in, from the spas, the saunas, the recovery center, which I feel the recovery center is probably the most important element, but it's all down to the individual and all your circumstances. But I do feel that these things are incredibly vital. With injuries, you are definitely going to be injured, and the injury process of running, you can't just run it off or just say I'm going to rest and go to the doctors, take an aspirin. You've got to actually go and see a physio. This is no ifs or buts. You can kind of get away with it in football, because if you're playing amateur football, certain injuries that you get, whether it's your groin, etc., you know that the remedy is for you to just rest. However, with running injuries, it's your whole body, and having a physio or going to a physio definitely adds value to that, and it speeds up the injury recovery process, and an expert is an expert. Sometimes we look at YouTube or we look at the internet and thinking, you know, I'll do that. But when you actually go to a physio and the therapy they apply on you and you see the results, it's very, 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 it's quite undeniable not to go to a physio to make sure that you're in top shape. So that's another cost. It's not cheap to go to a physio. Is it worth it? I personally think it all depends on your mentality, and it all depends. If you are putting running at your forefront and you're taking your health very seriously, you may have. I can only talk for myself. I make sure that I put my health at it's my top priority, because without my health, I can't work. I can't do much of the things that I want to do. I want to make sure I'm able-bodied. Nutrition is another aspect that people don't tell you of running. With football, you see all shapes and sizes. Running, you see all shapes and sizes. But when you're running a marathon, you're running 10K or anything like a half marathon, you have to have your nutrition. And I've never been able to consume liquids until now, being a runner, an amateur runner. And the likes of having gels, these gels, and having all these bars, you're taking your electrolytes, water. These things are not cheap. They accumulate. Something like this. I don't want to promote the brand, but looking at a brand like this that will cost you £30 for a pack of 12. You buy them individually. They can range anywhere between £1.50 all the way to £4 per gel. Now, for my first race in Berlin, I was as an amateur, I only took 4 gels with me, and I suffered when I got to 27K and the famous brick wall. And that brick wall is real. I'm not even going to go into that much more. But in Chicago, I doubled and I took 8 gels. And even though that I took it a lot more easier, I felt more refreshed to be able to complete without feeling like death. And yeah, they are essential things to buy. You don't need to use them while you're training, but for your long runs, if you're doing them once a week, you're doing over 20K, you're definitely going to need like 2 or 3 gels. So highly recommend that you fuel up on your carbs and your gels and your electrolytes. Your appetite will increase. Hopefully, you are disciplined to stick to a good diet, but you also can have, you can eat what you want. But running all these distances, your appetite increases. I can't even stress to you how much. And the cost of living crisis and how food is so expensive in the UK. Yeah, just factor that in mind. Then we go on to races. So if you are going to be entering this competition, you have to know you're going to have to pay. As an amateur, you are paying. If you're doing a major marathons, you're either going to be going through a lottery, or you're going to be going through a charity, or you're just going to pay outright, or you're going to go through like a tourist program, which is really expensive. Like I can't even. It's eye-watering expensive for my pockets anyway. The ballots, you can, something like the London Marathon it's so popular that the ballots is so challenging to get in. And if you do run for a charity, it's great. Raise funds and you complete. But the challenge is how many times can you go to the same people and ask them for funds to fund your journey of running, all the majors. So then you've got to pay, and if you are running the majors, you still got to pay for the actual ballot itself, a fee, and then not to factor in that you have to go and travel. So I'll just give you a case study of both for Berlin and Chicago. So my aim is to run all 6 major marathons. So for Berlin, I had to pay for my flights, accommodation, and while I'm there, you're looking at your taxi transportation from the airport and back and forth. Then you have to factor in that you have to eat. You have to make sure that you have packed enough adequate clothes. And now knowing that you also have to bring some discarded clothing when you're on a race line, because when you go to some of these places like Chicago, it's incredibly cold in the morning. So you've got your race attire on, you've got to definitely be warm or else you can cause yourself injury. So Chicago, I'll give you the numbers for Chicago. I ran for a charity, but I still had to pay $1,000 to enter to get here. And then my plane ticket to come to Chicago was £700. Just round it off to £700. With you choosing options for your seats, when you're traveling with these airlines. Then I had to book a hotel. So my strategy when I come to do marathons or race days abroad, I'll come on a Thursday and I'll leave on a Monday morning and arrive back in the UK. So it's in total, it's a 4-day trip, but it's going to take you 5 days. So to book a hotel for 4 nights or 3 nights is going to cost you. Marathon days in all cities that you do, all the prices are 3 to 4x. So if the hotel is costing $200 usually a night or $100 a night, it's going to be 4x, 100%. The hotel prices in Chicago this weekend for the marathon, because it's a huge generator for the city, from the hospitality to the transportation to the bars and restaurants. It's a huge economic benefit for the city. My hotel was eye-watering expensive and it's very challenging because you've got over 50,000 participants coming with their loved ones, with their families, so it's very expensive. Going around in Chicago was pretty easy because you can even go by taxis, or you can go and get a scooter, or you can, if you really wanted to for mode of transport, it's pretty easy to walk because there's a grid system. In Berlin, a lot of times you use the line bike and use taxis as well. And the food in Berlin was slightly easier because I need to have a lot of carbs, so I just went to Vapiano's until the race day where I went to a nice restaurant in Chicago, pasta as well. But I was very fortunate to be sponsored for a number of meals through friends and family. So the races are very costly for the major marathons. So I would say the trips between Chicago and Berlin have cost me close to 5 figures. Near end of 5 figures. That's definitely cost me. So it's very, very, very costly, and it's not cheap at all. So I need to rework the model. It's a learning experience in terms of how I can make it a lot more frugal. I was speaking to one of the guys in regards to New York and Japan, and I know in New York anyway, when it comes to hotels or Airbnb, I'm not sure if they do Airbnb, but I know the hotels for the UN summit that just happened, some of the prices were eye-watering, and New York already is expensive, so that's going to be something interesting that I want to look at. So then, if you're doing normal 5k runs, you have to pay a nominal fee for that. You're looking around between £20 and £50. If you're running Barcelona, or you're going to Lisbon or Copenhagen, you're looking anywhere between, depending on what package you want for the entry, you're looking anywhere between 35 euros to 120 euros if you're going to have all your photo packs. So yeah, these are things that you need to take into consideration if you are going to embark on an amateur running journey, because there are a number of things that people don't tell you, and I thought, let me make this video to give you guys the real heads up of it all. I think that is important for you to know that. And yeah, that's my video, and I hope that you like it. If you like it, give it a little thumbs up, and feel free to leave any comment on there if I've left